Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Trina Duhart here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 5 of season 2 of What If Uraraka Was an Electromaster. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin.
Not gonna lie, this sucks.
Shigaraki whined as he stared up at the scorched roof of his appropriated apartment. It had been over a week since he had lost it all and ended up as a vagabond in the streets of Japan. All those years of dedication were snuffed away by the wind. Over a week ago, at a certain bar we all recognize.
The hell do you mean, get out? This is my place!
The protagonist of the Decay Ship project shouted. This had to be a sick joke.
You heard what I said. My master has finally come to terms with your uselessness, so he has discarded you. You are of no use to us anymore. So once more, I'll ask you to leave. Ignore it and I'll have Kurogiri warp you out.
The doctor responded before taking a good sip of his beverage.
This is not fair. I dedicated my life to making him proud, to be a successor, and now he's just gonna treat me like trash? I killed all the slimes he threw at me, every single one, and he still doubts my loyalty.
With his remaining good hand, Shigaraki was ready to decay the doctor that had despised his presence ever since he was taken in.
Accept it. This is reality, boy. As if. Die!
He lunged at the old man, but his hand didn't touch him because the portal had opened up. It was Kurogiri's. At that moment, the nearby intercom began to spark up, and a voice started slipping through. At first, it was glitchy, and soon after, it became audible.
That's enough, Tomura.
The voice of All for One filled the room with dread. Master! Shigaraki shouted upon hearing it. Almost like a mutt, the young man sat down, and all his aggression vanished. He was ready to converse with the man who had saved him.
Good. Now that I have your attention, I'll give you the update. Tomura, you are of no more use to me, so because of it, I'll be forced to let you go. You did well throughout your time serving me, but I have found a far better person to inherit my will, one that will not fail me as you have.
Shigaraki just looked at the screen with a blank stare. He could not believe this. Ever since he was 5, he had been raised here to be the next symbol of fear. Every test and experiment led to that. So how was it possible that…
You're wrong! I didn't fail you! I would never!
The desperate boy cried out in the hopes of persuading his master.
That's enough, Tomura. Stop embarrassing yourself. Accept that this is your fate and move on.
At least fix my hand! You can't just leave me with this cast! I can't decay with it on!
Now almost in tears, he pleaded, hoping for a miracle to occur.
That cannot be arranged. I made it so that the special cast wouldn't break until your fracture's fully healed. Decay will not work on it, so there's no point in trying.
Garaki then stayed on the side. This was just another pinch of salt to the deep wound being carved on the decayed child.
No, I will not accept this! You will not take my destiny away from me! I will not be degraded in such a manner!
With every consecutive word you're spouting out makes me regret picking you up that day. Perhaps it would have been for the best if I had left you where you belong.
Someday, I'll show you. Just you wait.
Shigaraki told himself while reminiscing of All for One's final words to him. They had hurt him more than he dared to admit. He then reached out to his improvised fridge and noticed that his cans of soda and juice had run out, as well that the ice had almost fully melted. With a sigh, he got up and began walking off. Yet another visit to the gas station was in order. Tomura wasn't exactly thrown out, but escorted out. He had managed to keep his clothes at least, and as a final goodbye gift, Kurogiri gave him a credit card containing all the money he had earned for his troubles. A measly $206. Shigaraki was screwed. He wasn't in the records, so getting a job would be almost nigh impossible. His broken fingers trapped in a cast didn't help his case either. Funny enough, he had tried to decay the annoying white hand cage with his right hand, but nothing happened. The doctor wasn't lying. A few minutes later, he had bought beverages, a bag of ice, as well as a few cans of soup. They had been on clearance, so he could get 4 of them for $1. What a steal, right? This was a small victory that he had allowed himself to have. It wouldn't be long until his savings ran out and he was left with nothing. What then? Kill whoever stood in his way? It wouldn't last long if he did that either. The heroes would dispose of him in an instant. Unbeknownst to him, a small hooded girl had been trailing him ever since he exited the store. She was keeping her distance at first, but by now, she was just a few meters behind him.
Who's there?
Raising his voice, he turned around. He had felt some steps behind him.
No one!
The girl responded. She had just hidden behind a lamppost.
Oh, good. Almost worried for a second there.
the evil vagabond sarcastically said while beginning to go towards the light source.
He believed it.
The small child held her laughter from leaking out with her little hands.
Gotcha!
With a quick move, he reached her and removed her makeshift hood.
He actually noticed?
The silly child was left astonished. He had been able to locate her.
Wait a second, you're one of them!
In shock, the man realized this was one of those sisters, but unlike the normal ones, this one was just a little girl, looking no older than 10.
That's very rude of you, to take off a girl's only a pair of disguise. Uraraka explains while looking intently at the one responsible.
Rude? You're the one following me in the middle of the night. So who's the rude one, huh?
When you put it that way.
Now answer me, why in bloody hell a sister would be trailing me? The one who eliminated well over 10,000 of you. If anything, you should be running away from me, not toward me.
Shigaraki could only wonder about the reason for her actions.
Uraraka has a bone to pick with you! Uraraka states while pointing her finger at the weird man in front of her.
No shit. Of course you do.
This couldn't be real. It had to be a prank or something.
But first, let Uraraka fill you in with everything that you need to know. Uraraka says while readying herself.
Fine, go ahead.
Tomura let out. It wasn't like he had much more to do.
Uraraka's serial number is 20,001, and she was built as the final one of the sisters. But her code name has all but become last order. And though she was supposed to be used in the experiment, this is no longer the case, as due to its cancellation, Uraraka was released from the incubator early, all tight and compact. Uraraka explains rather sadly as she finally realized that this makes her the littlest of the little sisters.
Well, yeah, that was a given even without the early release.
Shigaraki responded with a chuckle.
You're the last one after all.
That may be true, but that doesn't mean that Uraraka wants to live with it. Uraraka wants to be the same biological age as the rest.
And you want me to do something about it? Sorry, kid, but you got the wrong guy.
And just like that, the decay guy began to walk off.
It is likely that you got connection with the researchers, so Uraraka thought that you could contact them for her.
Yeah, no. Just like you, I was discarded, so no can do.
So we could be besties. Uraraka celebrates upon realizing that she is so similar to Shigaraki.
Ugh, go away.
He said while trying to leave her behind, but she didn't hesitate to run to keep up with his quickened pace.
Never! You're the only one who can help her. Uraraka shouts in desperation, hoping to convince Hoodie Decay.
Whatever. Just follow me if you're so desperate then. It's not like I could do much to help you anyway.
Shigaraki admitted and continued on without stopping. Last Order followed him to his burned apartment and sat beside him on the couch, waiting for him to do something. But her attention drifted the moment that her belly rumbled. The scrawny guy sighed and opened up a can of soup for the girl, handing her a spoon right after. The girl's eyes fixated on it, and after thanking him, she devoured it all and gave him the empty can, asking for seconds. Tomura denied this as he only had 3 left, which should have filled her for the time being. The little one got moody, so she decided to move to the sofa instead. There, she just looked at him with disdain. About an hour passed, and the girl began falling asleep, but she kept trembling because of the cold. She only had a dark hospital blanket with her as she had no clothes underneath. Tomura considered whoever left her like that a degenerate that deserved no mercy. So he took off his hoodie and gave it to her so she wouldn't be cold.
But without it, you'll no longer be a Hoodie Decay. You'll just be Decay. Uraraka points out before accepting the gift.
Just take it. I can't stand your constant shivering.
The boy told her so she would grab it. The girl took it hesitantly and went behind the sofa to put it on. And a second later, she popped out to show off her new look. The tired man just yawned and returned to the couch. It was going to be a long night. The next day, he was awoken by the girl as she demanded a meal. And to shut her up, he decided to take her to a fast food restaurant. But before he could do that, he noticed that her lack of clothing could make it so she wasn't allowed to enter, so he deviated their path until they reached a kid's clothing store.
Get the brat some clothes she can wear,
Shigaraki commanded, handing over his credit card to the female employee. He would soon come to regret this decision.
What the hell?
He screamed from within once she came back with the receipt. The girl's new wardrobe had made his savings crash into the floor, as with his purchase, less than $20 remained. Tomura decayed the receipt and was ready to attack the worker, but he decided not to. It wasn't worth the risk. Now, with no money, they would have to settle for a cheap-ass restaurant instead of a good one. And that's how they reached King Burger, one of the most pathetic fast food restaurants out there. It reeked 2 streets over, and the flies were everywhere to be seen once they got inside.
I hate my life.
Minutes later, they had gotten their orders and started eating. Last Order didn't seem to mind as she loved her meal, but Shigaraki detested his with a passion.
Man, I wish that I was sponsored by Grubhub right about now. They have over 3,000 store locations and offer on-demand convenience delivery across the country.
The depressed Tomer stated while looking at his deflated-looking burger.
But the food here is so good! And sharing it with someone else makes it even better! Uraraka tries explaining her spiritual philosophy.
You're joking, right? This place is a dumpster fire with shit served as food. Just imagine the cuisines we could be having anywhere we wanted with the help of a Grubhub app. All hassle-free with no extra charges. It's such good value for your buck. Last time, when I was still sponsored, there was this deal that if you had Grubhub Plus, you could get a free delivery prices for 10 meals every month on orders of $12 or more for only $9.99 a month. I wasted more than that on your Joy meal in my combo. But that wasn't all. You could also use the code AFF25 to save 25% off the first mobile order of $15 or more. It was a limited one, though, so it might have expired by now, but the link could still be in the description. I wish that I could still say that.
Thanks to Grubhub for sponsoring this video! Uraraka shouts gleefully as she steals the final line, using some sort of all-powerful instinct to pull it off.
You little brat, that was my line!
Well, too bad! Uraraka sticks out her tongue to taunt you as she once more feels happy to ruin your fake Grubhub moment.
Whatever. I'm going to the bathroom.
The former decayed beast announced as he got up on his feet.
Okay!
You better not move an inch, got that? I'll be back in a minute, so don't go anywhere or talk to strangers.
If you say so, Uraraka responds as she watches Hoodie Decay walks away to dispose of some lace.
Shigaraki went on to do his thing, and a minute later, he returned to see a guy outside with last order in his hands. He was kidnapping her. Tomura quickly broke through the glass window and tried to make chase with the vehicle, but it promptly accelerated out of view.
You have to be shitting me.
But a sudden vibration in his pocket gained his attention, so he pulled out his phone.
Who the hell would even send me something? Nobody knows me.
As he opened it, though, he realized that it was a message with a location pinged to it. So he opened it up and decided to follow those directions. Why not, right? At the end of the trail, a small laboratory got revealed, and upon entering it, he saw someone who he hadn't seen in a long time.
Blech! You're the hag that introduced me to the experiments.
His tone of voice showed apparent distaste for the lady in front of him. But in an unexpected turn of events, the old lady pulled out a .44 Magnum and pointed it at the boy's head. "Say that again, youngling. I double dare you," she threatened in supreme calmness.
Whoa, no need to get so aggressive, Granny.
With his hands up, Shigaraki said, hoping that the lunatic wouldn't shoot him anyway. She was that wicked from what he remembered. "That's what I thought," she added as she lowered her weapon.
So, why did you lead me here? What do you want?
"Well, my granddaughter has gone missing, and now the literal control tower of the Uraraka network is in the hands of a rogue agent. This hasn't been a good week, so that's where you come in. Go save the sister that got captured due to her irresponsibility," Chio commanded. She expected perfect results.
Me, irresponsible? Can't a guy take a piss in peace? I was gone for less than a minute. She's an Electromaster like the rest, so the least she could have done is defend herself.
"An unconscious girl can defend herself."
Unconscious?
"Yes, unconscious. Once you left her, she lost consciousness due to a virus that is running rampant throughout the network. And even if she hadn't, she was never made to go against you in combat, so she doesn't know how to defend herself," Shuzaneji explained, hoping that this would calm the brat in front of her.
Oh, I see. Still, isn't there someone better for the job? I'm down to one hand and less than $1 to my name. It's not like I can track the agent on my own.
He proposed. Perhaps she would let him be, and a professional would take over. "On the contrary, Tomura Shigaraki, you are the perfect person to deal with this problem as you are also connected to the network."
Excuse you, what? The hell does that mean? I'm not spouting out Uraraka this or Uraraka that, so I'm definitely not a part of that crazy network.
"You indeed are. After taking in so much of their essence, you did connect to it. How else would you explain your electromagnetic capabilities? The ones you kept even after those support items were destroyed."
I truly am cursed, huh? I can't win anything.
Shigaraki whined as everything began to dawn on him. "So you better get to it. Otherwise, you might short-circuit alongside them once the virus takes over." Recovery Girl motioned for the boy to start moving. He wouldn't make it in time if he kept complaining about everything.
But why should I? I already took out over half of them. So what reason do I have to save the rest? It's not like I care about what happens to me anymore. I lost my true purpose to keep going.
But just as those words left his mouth, he heard the old hag preparing himself to shoot him in the head, so he backed away. Now listen here. I saw everything you did for the girl. There's no way that you don't care about her. You went out of your way to give her what she needed, so drop the act. There's still some glass on that hoodie of yours after all.
She should hate me, though. After all I did to them, I don't deserve to be their savior.
The lost man admitted. The memories of the remaining sisters, and even of those that met their demise at your hand, that is indeed correct. But 20,001 doesn't hate you, even with every reason to do so. She refuses to hate you, and instead, she looks out for the best side of you, the one that still lingers beneath the many layers. So show her that she's not wrong, Tenko Shimura. That speech convinced the boy. Well, to be honest, it just made him go towards the option that he had wanted to pick since the beginning. But now he knew that it was the correct one to take. It only took a few minutes for Chio to explain the plan to him, and once done, she gave him the keys to her spare car. It's in the back. Be sure to wreck it so I can cash out the insurance check. With a wicked smile, she bid him farewell.
You truly are a hag with a messed up head.
I know. Her spare car ended up being a LaFerrari Aperta, which left the boy speechless. Just what kind of secret life did this old hag live? Regardless of this, he got on and turned on the device that would track his target. Ao Amai. After an hour of driving, he got close enough and jumped off the car. His target was parked at a dead end.
Please, just a little longer, until the virus is unleashed.
The rogue agent gripped the steering wheel. He felt like someone was after him, and he was right. He was violently pulled out of the car by Shigaraki, who headbutted him, decayed his left leg off, and then threw him down the small hill beside the car. The forest was down there.
Now that he's out of this picture, it's time to move on to the kid.
He told himself and got inside Aoi's car, where Last Order resided. There he saw that she was breathing quite sporadically, and some electrodes were on her forehead. These were connected to a laptop on the car's dash. All you need to do is place the lower part of your palm on the middle of her forehead and close your eyes. There you'll see the virus, and you'll have to decay it away. The memory of what Dr. Shuneji had said passed through his mind in that instant.
Hopefully she's right, because if she isn't, then a bunch of girls are gonna die.
Doing what he was told, he entered the network, and in front of him, a giant snake made out of pure code appeared.
What the fuck? That's a virus? It looks like an endgame boss!
Seeing the skyscraper-sized monster only made him start sweating in fear.
Get it together, Tenko. She's counting on you.
An epic battle ensued between the decaying beast and the enormous serpentine virus. Shigaraki dodged all the strikes as he jumped away into the broken code structures, getting higher and higher until he could jump up on top of the virus.
Time to decay away!
His hold on the monster tightened, his touch of decay spreading quickly throughout the long, limbless body. But he heard a noise from the outside world, so he opened his eyes once more. Al had crawled all the way back and opened the door. Now with a pistol in hand, he was pointing it right at Tomer's head. Just know that after you start the process, if you were to stop, she would most likely perish. Chio's final warning came forth to haunt him.
Shit. If I let go now, then she'll...
He could have gotten out of the way, but instead, he decided to close his eyes once more and finish the virus off entirely, even if that was the last thing he did.
I knew it was wishful thinking, but I still thought that if I saved her, I would have been able to get a second chance myself.
The serpent withered away, but simultaneously, the bullet penetrated Tomer's skull.
He's dead, huh? That's for my leg, you obnoxious prick!
Al shouted at the body in front of him, the one bleeding out.
God blessed me, so I got to live!
He cried out while he crawled over to check on the girl. If he was lucky, then he would be able to activate it right now.
Error. Break code 000001 to 357081. Host command has been canceled due to an illegal process. Delivery terminated. Subject number 20001 restarting.
The still unconscious girl recited. If anything, she seemed possessed.
Restarting? No!
Amai shouted and pointed the firearm at her. If he couldn't execute it, he would execute her instead. But at that moment, Tomer grabbed the weapon and decayed it, taking half of Aoi's hand along with it. Sadly, that was his last remaining strength, so he collapsed right after. The bleeding from his forehead only worsened. Chio Shineji had finally arrived at the place, and she sighed in disappointment upon seeing her spare car still intact without a scratch. So, to remedy this, she pulled out her .44 Magnum and shot it twice in the gas tank, causing it to explode. Sweet 812 Superfast, come to Mama! Recovery Girl joked to herself, knowing that this would be the model she would get to replace this old piece of scrap. Her attention went downwards as she heard someone grunting in pain.
Oh, great. You're still kicking. Time to fix that.
With a headshot, she ended the traitor, and then went forward to recover the girl in the car. But once she got there, she saw the state of Shigaraki, which worried her.
Oh, crap baskets.
What is it with you always bringing me people at the brink of death?
Heaven Chancellor questioned. It was rather odd that she did this so frequently.
This one is on me, so go treat him.
I will. But it's funny, after so many years you finally owe me something.
Yeah, get on with it. I want him good as new.
With a cackle, she demanded.
Good as new? You're joking, right? You bring me a patient that was shot in the head over half an hour ago, and you expect me to give him back good as new? My name is an absolute restorer Shunechi.
The good doctor shouted at her absurd demands.
Fine, do your best for him, please.
I will. It might be true that his frontal cortex received a lot of damage leading to impairment in his verbal functions and computation skills, but that's where my credo comes into play. When something is unworkable, work something out. No matter what, I'll restore them. And with the help of the Link Network, I'm sure they could spare some of their power to offset one person's speaking and calculating skills. But now I'll get going. There's no time to waste.
He began walking towards the operating room.
You better not let him die,
Chio shouted loud enough for him to hear.
Who do you think you're talking to? That is my battlefield, and I will definitely come home from the battlefield, you'll see. And I'll bring back with me a patient who has been fighting alone all this time.
And with that, the doors closed. Thank you all for indulging yourself with all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. If you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of the namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Now, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day. A few days later. Once Tomura Shigaraki was discharged from the hospital, Chio Shuneji took him in last order with her. In some sense, she had adopted both of them for the time being. They had just arrived at her residence, so they got out of the car and got a good look at it. It was a small apartment. It didn't correlate at all with the vehicle she owned, but this was her new home now. With the help of a retractable crutch, Shigaraki walked forward. This was one of the new acquisitions after the surgery. Alongside it, there was also the calculation assistance device around his neck, which made him look like he had a choker similar to those the goth kids wore. Or at worst, the ones that wore it for a kink. With this device, Shigaraki could walk and speak. Thanks to the network, he was allowed to do so even with the permanent injury he suffered. And as a bonus, this device stimulated his hair growth, so he would have long hair in no time. Still, he didn't regret giving away so much. At least he had saved a certain girl that had given him a chance at a new life.
Hey, let's get going! Uraraka exclaims while grabbing Tenko's arm.
Yeah, I guess that we should go see her new home.
Their new life under Recovery Girl's care was just a step away.